start the recording first. Yep. Uh, so I hope you didn't face any issue while installing that Visual Studio. As I told you that these are very like straightforward steps. Uh, so can we move further? If anyone have any issue on like installing video, I already have mentioned the steps. So just I'll repeat it again. Maybe we don't have recordings for yesterday's sessions. So for an example, just like we just need to go to the download, we need to open Google Chrome. We can write yeah, directly Visual Studio, and the first link would be of that official website. Click on download. There would be three options: community, professional, and enterprise. So from where you need to install the
Hello,
community
hello,
version.
Aniket.
Yeah. Hi, Aswini. Good morning.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Actually, I was not able to hear you.
Okay, that's fine.
Uh,
We just started the class, no problem.
No, do one
okay.
thing actually. Just remove your earphones. If you already connected the earphones, you can remove. If not, you can put your earphones.
I am able to hear you now, but the thing is,
Okay.
the audio is little bit. Just
So
a second. Just wait for me.
yeah. Okay, fine. Take your time. Like Ganesh, we have access for this class, I guess, for 40 minutes only. Mm.
Yes,
Uh,
after
do,
40 minutes, you have to rejoin with the same link.
okay. So please, guys,
Just do
rejoin.
one thing.
Mhm.
Do one thing, Ankit.
Mhm.
You can use Skype also. Skype, there is no like a limited period. It will be there for whatever the number of man hours.
Okay,
Skype also
so
will be there.
I'll purchase its premium version. Let me look into that, like how costly it is. And we can plan it accordingly. Today evening, I'll
For
inform
this,
you. Like, Mhm.
we can just after post this class, we'll have a call. Ankit. I'll explain.
Yeah, sure. Because for these kind of sessions, this Teams gives more privilege to say the screens and recordings and all. Like I know Skype is widely used by the professionals, but like nowadays, this this Zoom meeting have evolved a lot.
Yes, actually.
Yep.
Hello, Aniket. I'm back.
Okay.
Ashwini, you
Welcome
joined.
back. So
Okay.
No.
you're
Ashwini, you joined with us 2 times. Or, disconnect one.
Uh,
No,
Actually,
do one thing.
my computer is an old one. That I'm not able to hear you properly in this.
Then that mute the
mute the
your
other
computer.
system. Mute your computer.
Okay. I will.
Mute your computer and speak from your mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I hope you can hear us properly. Can you hear me clearly, loudly?
Yes, we can able to hear you. Actually, you can mute your system laptop.
Yeah. I am.
No, left side only. This mic option will be
Yes,
there.
Yes. I'm clicking it. It is not happening.
Again, you can mute her. And the first Ashwini Rao is there, right? First one. You can mute then.
I didn't much use this.
No. Yes.
Now it is mute.
Okay, fine. So can you? So Ashwini, I hope you get enough time to download the Visual Studio. If not, then I'm repeating my steps again.
No, actually, I have not downloaded.
Okay.
I will download.
Yeah. So, please do it today. After this session, you can do it. So, I hope you can
Okay.
see my screen, that Google Chrome and the link that I have opened. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so you just navigate to this link and simply click on community version. I already have explained you, like, we have three options: community, professional, and enterprise. So this one is free, and we can directly go with this. And as this is written like powerful ID, free for students, open source contributors. So like we all are using kind of like Selenium is also an open source tool. Anyone can go. Do you understand the term open source and closed source? Like open source means anyone can access their code repository. Okay, anyone can use it for free. We need not to pay for Selenium to use. And there are so many tools that are paid also. For an example, just take the example of Visual Studio. So there are three versions of Visual Studio. The first one is open source, and these are not open sources. Okay, we need to pay for these. So you just need to navigate here and download the community version. Okay, and there would be a few instruction. So you just need to select, like, there is an option to develop console based application for C sharp. You just need to select that option and click on install. It will directly install everything. Okay, so I have provided you the link as well. Now moving forward, like, if you guys have little bit knowledge of Java or any other programming language, then you may hear some terms like JVM. Okay, there are some configurations inside the system. I guess Ganesh or someone who have like little bit of knowledge about some other programming, they maybe heard about these terms. We need to set local variable paths and all. But like here, we need not to do anything. This Visual Studio gives us enough capability to do it, the job, that variable, everything by like it itself. So there are very less setting in compared to other programming language. We just need to install the Visual Studio, then simply create a project. Like we yesterday we created a project called Selenium morning session. That's it. Just open that particular project and we are good to go. And if you want to create a new project, just go to files. Here you can create a new project or repository, or directly open the existing project or solution. Okay, I request you to mute uh, everyone. So we can open our project or like create a new project from here. So that's the recap, kind of recap for yesterday's class. Yesterday we also created a new class called program.cs, and I told you that we can create as many classes as we want. Okay, so there were two classes. The program.cs was by default given by that we got this program.cs with the project itself. Then we created a new folder, and inside that folder we created our own class called first class. Okay, uh, if you want to change the name of this class, then just right click on this, click on rename, and maybe you can give a new name called C sharp. Okay, uh, and that's good to go. This will ask, like, you are renaming a file, would you also like to perform a rename in this project for all references? So this class may be used some other places as well. We may have access this class. How to access the class we will talk in further sessions. But so that every reference we need to change it. Obviously we need to change everywhere, because otherwise the old name would be reflect over there. For an example, here is displayed internal class in first class. So if I'll click on yes, then this name changed to C sharp. Okay, initially it was first class. So this is the way we can rename a class. So I hope we are good so far. You can, like, if you didn't get any concept, you can unmute yourself and like stop me, so and ask me the questions. So as we discussed yesterday, you can see This is the basic structure of a class. First, there would be a namespace. Okay, as I told you that we'll discuss namespace and all in further sessions, and then some keywords. So the like this text, or we say syntax in blue color, that these are called keywords. So this might be an interview question, like this is your assignment as well. You need to search out how many keywords are there in C sharp. Okay, there would be more than 50, but you need to search it out how many keywords. So keyword always start with the small letter, like internal, class, public, static, void. These all are keyword. For an example, if I write like string, or if we like int, okay, this is also a keyword. So we need to start it from small, and like your task is that you need to find out how many total keywords are there in C sharp. This will really help you. Like no one knows this kind of things. So this is like some exciting as well. Okay. So namespace is a keyword, internal is a keyword, class is a keyword. Okay, these all are keywords. That's good. So as I told you that keyword will always start with the small letter. Now you can see that this is our class, because we can how we'll identify that C sharp is a class. The first way is that this has .cs extension. If any file have .cs extension, that means that is a class. Also, the second way to identify this, we have class keyword before this. Okay, this is a class. That means we have defined this with a class keyword. So you can see that there are two curly braces. So that means whatever code or whatever lines we are going to write, we can only write within these two curly braces. Okay. I mean to say that, let me open the notepad and explain to you. So for an example, you may write your class just like that is internal, or you may write it like public class and C sharp. Okay. So you need to write it like that. Your code will be in between these two curly braces. Is that okay? Now, like, to execute this, we need a man method. You can see that there is a man method as well. So what is the significance of man method? Like, always the syntax of man method would be same: public static void man. Okay. I'll also explain when I'll talk more about the keywords, these static or non-static classes, then I'll explain this as well. But for time being, you just remember that man method is the entry point of any like object oriented programming languages. For C sharp, we can say. So when we are going to run this particular program, then first the program will look for a class. Yeah, he got a class. Then the second point, the program will look for a main method. If you comment it out or remove this, then your program will never get executed, because man method is the entry point. We can say there is a gate. There might be some other methods as well. We'll explain in the further session, like what is method and classes, but like there might be some other methods as well. So there would be like, for timing, just remember that there will be only one man method. Okay. And there might be any number of like sub methods as well. So man method would always be single. Got it? So once we are going to execute this, then like our compiler will identify first class, then he will look for the man method, then the execution will started. Okay. So like the purpose of this session today is to discuss some data types, as like we discussed. So yesterday, if I summarize, I also send you the things. Like yesterday, we look into the content, course content, and installation. Okay, installation Visual Studio. Today we are going to look into the data types. Okay, so maybe today, or I might need to take one more session on in this data types. So like I'll explain you this console.write line today itself. So like, yeah, we are here. So I would like to ask you, any one of you, could anyone please tell me like what is data type? Maybe Ganesh, Jassi, or like Ashwini. Any one of you can like have little bit of idea like what is data type? Yeah.
Data type can be an integer, string, or what means in which we can store the value of a variable or anything. Used to store the value.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Please be on mute. Please mute yourself. There is lots of people. Yeah. Thank you, Ashwini. It's a nice answer. So, if we go forward, we may understand that the C sharp is a kind of, we can say, strict type language. Okay, it's a kind of strict type language. Strict type means I'll write over here. Uh, if you talk about Python, that is not a strict type. If you would like to write like this, for an example, I have a value 10 and I want to store this 10 inside this I variable 10. Then there would be an error. You can see the red highlighted things are error. If you will mouse over on this, then you may get like what kind of error this is. The name I doesn't exist in the current context. Okay, that means this is restricting the Java C sharp is restricting to store 10 to this I because we don't have any data type for this. C sharp compiler is not identifying whether is I, what kind of I is this, whether it is integer or string, what kind of value this is. So for the strict type languages, we need to define the data type. So I'm going to define integer over here. Okay, then there is no error, like the error gone away. You see it like if I write just integer before I, then that error go away and we can store the value of 10 inside I. Is that okay? So that is the property of strict type languages. Now, for an example, if I try to define like string j is equal to 10, j is equal to 10. Okay, so you can see that there is an error. If you will mouse over to this, you may get some explanation. Represents a 32-bit signed integer. So the 10 is integer kind of value, but we are trying to store an integer inside a string. Okay, so the C sharp will not, C sharp compiler will not allow this. They'll say that your 10 is kind of integer and you are trying to store the integer inside a string. So this is strictly not allowed. Okay, so we cannot do this. So the things is like if you need to comment, just like I commented restrict type over here, if you need to comment any line, then just uh, just the double forward slash to it, double forward slash, then this particular line would be commented out. Okay, so yeah, so that we have like look into this, right, in this value 10. Also, I'll also explain you the internal structure, like how it's working. Let me open that word file, or we can do it in end as well. So what is happening, guys, like what is this the things like whenever we define, or we can say first we'll talk about a little more about these like data types in C sharp. I will say data types. So this is an interview question as well, which I'm going to discuss right away. Okay, so there are two type of uh, data types available in C sharp. First we will say primitive data types. Okay, and second one would be we can say non-primitive. Please remember this sentence. Okay, non-primitive type. Further, primitive type is also described into two more types. Okay, uh, like we can write it like primitive type is also two types. First one is Boolean type. Uh, Boolean type, and second one is we can say like numeric type. I'll explain each and every point one by one. Further, this numeric type also categorized into two parts. We can say a numeric type also categorized into two types. The character type, and the second one is like integral type. Okay, and furthermore, this integral type is also kind of like divided into two categories. First one is integer, okay, and second one is floating points. Just bear with me, like you will understand at the end, like what I'm doing. Okay, so just to recap the things. So we started from data types. So their data types are of two types: primitive data type and non-primitive data type. Okay, so primitive data type can be classified into further two more sections. Boolean type. Boolean means you may understand like true and false. This is very important. Boolean type in Selenium, or in like when we will understand loops, if condition and or all conditions, then we like must be aware about the Boolean condition. True false kind of value we can store. Okay, and further, like if I talk about the numeric type, the numeric type can be classified into character type. In character type, we will use like char keyword. Okay, char, char, this to store the single. Like I'll explain this. And integral can be classified into furthermore two more, like integer and floating point. Integer means just like byte, okay, and short, and we can say int, long. These kind of variables can be stored inside the integer. These are the, like for these type of I would say data types, integer is the family. Okay, in you may like interviewer may ask like what are the data types of integer family. So byte, short, int, and long are the data types of integer family. And if I talk about floating points, then float and double, these are the uh, I'll say data types of floating point. So if I talk about non-primitive data type, then like the data types for which object can be created, that kind of things would be inside this, like inside this. For an example, string, I can say array, or maybe classes as well, and interface. We'll understand everything what is a string, array, classes, interface, but like the things for which we can create the object would be non-primitive data type. Okay, so I can write either need to create object. Okay, and here we don't need to create any object. We can't create object of this primitive data type. So I hope this is clear to you guys, Ganesh, or like uh, Aswini. No, just see, is that clear? Any question on this?
No, no, right now.
Okay,
It's still
so yeah. So Ashwini, I have a question to you. Like we are learning object-oriented programming, object-oriented programming. Okay, C sharp is an object-oriented programming. So
okay.
so like C sharp is a 100% object-oriented programming language, or a partial programming language? 100% object-oriented or partially object-oriented?
I think it can be partial because
Exactly.
there are some inbuilt classes and all that we
Mm,
can use.
Not due to classes. If the
Okay.
classes and methods, then there would always be. Your answer is correct. It's like partial object oriented, but not due to the classes and all, due to the primitive
Hmm.
data type. Due to the, like, you can
Okay.
write your code using primitive data type, and there you will not require any kind of object and all. If you are going to use non-primitive data type, then you need to use 100% object oriented programming concepts. You need to create object and everything. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, let's move to this. So first, like we would to let's start from that byte. Okay, let's start. I just commented like a double slash so that we can understand. We'll start from byte. So again, can I write like this? B byte, for an example, byte b is equal to 10. Can I write like this? Yes or
Hmm.
no, guys?
No, it
Yeah,
is what type data type
yeah.
is
We need
there?
to exactly. So we need to define the data type as well. So if this session goes and after 40 minutes, please rejoin guys with the same link. Okay, we need to define the data type. So what do that means? If we want to store, we need to store this integer inside some kind of data type, and for now we have assigned it inside a byte. So now if I want to like do like this, I need to give a new value to byte b. If I want to write like byte b is equal to 15, so is that allowed? Can I write? Can I give a new value to b? So you can see that there is an error. If I'll mouse over to this, a local variable or function named b is already defined in this scope. So the C# compiler is saying ki, we already have defined some value to b. Now, how does it working internally? Let's understand. You can see that there is a memory. We can say every programming language have some memory, and like we can say this is memory. Okay, C# memory. So every keyword, or we can say every data type have its their own value. For an example, inside this is the like complete value, or we can say complete memory of C#. Inside this, we have defined inside this we have defined a byte. Okay, yeah. So here is your byte, and we have given a reference variable to this called b. Okay, and the value of this is 20 or 10 that we have assigned. So what will happen? What will happen, like whenever we are going to create any data type, that will directly go inside the C# memory and occupy a particular space inside that. So there would be some space would be created for b, and yes, C# compiler will easily understand that uh, like this b have 10 values, or what kind of values we can store. So here we used to call, like b would be called as reference variables. Okay, we can reference like 10 with a b. So b already have some space. Compiler already understand that b already have occupied his space inside the memory. Now what we are trying to do, we are again trying to give some space to b. Then it's showing error. No, yeah, we already have space for you. You need not to require like we need if you change the reference variable called c, for an example called c, yeah, then there is no as such error, because this time what will happen, a new space would be created for c type of reference variable, and you may store like further values like 10 or 20, whatever you want, according to the data type. Okay, this time the compiler will create a new memory space for your next or your new data type. Similarly, now going forward, if you want to change the value of b, then what you need to do? So simply just write b is equal to, let's say, uh, 30. Yeah, then there is no as such error. Why? Because we already have space. Whenever we write byte, then we created a space inside the memory. This time, like, this b is directly referring to the space that we already have. So there would be no as such error. And you may further change its value. For an example, you may write it like 50 or whatever you want. Okay. So you may change, but first, like, if you remove this, then there would be error because you don't have space yet. To create the space inside C# memory, you need to define the data type. Is that okay? And you may create as many data types as much you want. Like, you may byte, we already have created B, C, and D. If you want to create D, then just byte D is equal to, like, for an example, 50, or you may assign the same value over here, like 10. So what would be the, like, Ashwini, I have a question too. What is the latest value of B? What is the latest value of B?
It will be 50.
Yeah. So the last value that we have defined, that would be the latest value of that particular reference variable or data type. Okay. So yeah, we can understand this in that way. So like, I also like to explain you that sometime kind of like interview or may ask you, like, this byte. Let's talk about this. So we are learning the byte. So byte, or we can say, just like we have weights, and like 1 kg is equal to like milligrams, we can convert into like 1,000 grams and all. So similarly, in the programming language, in programming memory, the things is like in bits and bytes. Okay, the weight, or we can say memory, can be measured in bits and bytes. So 1 byte, it is will be equal to 8 bits. Okay. So like, what will happen, and like, we can understand that one if I talk about the size of byte, let me write into a new line. All right, let me write it over here. 1 byte, we already have defined it to 8 bit. So this is the 1 byte is equal to 8 bit. 8 bit. This is the size. Okay, and there would be a specific range as well. I'm not sure, like, I'm not able to recall it, but yeah, we need to check it. I guess from 1-1.9 to 128 to 127 plus. This is the range of. We need to check it. We'll figure it out on Google. This is the range of byte. Okay, so we need to keep these two things in the mind: the range and the size. So specifically, we are talking over here about the byte keyword only. Okay, byte have, interviewer may ask you what is the memory, how many memory like bits can store a byte. So we will say, directly say 8 bit, or like, what would be that range of byte, then we simply can say minus 128 to 127. We'll look into the range, okay, in a while. So like, how it's working: as soon as you define a byte in your program, the memory will be occupied for that program. And how much memory that would be? That would be 8 byte. You got my point? So how much value the b have? This is have like 8 byte. Okay, like this in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so a kind of 8 byte would be have. And also, like, how much memory the c have? C would also have 8 byte. As much as the variable we will define, accordingly that memory will be allocated, and that memory size would be, if we have only 1 byte, one byte variable inside our program, then there would be 8 bit. If you have 2 byte, then would be 16 bit. If we have, for an example, in this program, we have defined B, C, and D. There are 3 bytes. So how much memory have it consumed? 8 multiplied by 3. 24 bits kind of memory has been like occupied. Is that clear? Actually, see, guys, I'm telling you like very deep secrets of programming language. Like you will hardly find these kind of like how internally the programming is working. So if you will be familiar with these kind of things, to write the code and to understand the syntax, it would be very easy for you. So like no one will explain in that much detail. They will simply write that these bits, what is byte, just print this and add this, subtract this, launch browser and all. But no, we are here just to understand very basics and deep concept of the programming. Okay. So I hope. Do you have any question on this? Any one of you? I guess we are good to go. So now let me remove this. These were for the understanding purpose. Yeah. So just forget about these. Now you can see that there is an green kind of like mark below B. Are you able to see this? Like there is a green kind of mark. Okay, there some cases might be yellow. If there is red, that means that is the error, and if it's green, that means there is some warning to us. So can anyone guess like what is the warning? So we can, to see the warning or any kind of error, we just need to move to that particular um, reference variable and we can see that what is the error, or let's look into this. So it's saying the variable b is assigned but its value is never used. So we have assigned the value 10 to b, but have we used the b or byte b? No, we haven't used it yet, we just defined it. Okay, so how we can use this in, like in our real time concept? We may use, for an example, we may like in byte, whatever value we want to store, we may use store it like in our, if I talk about Selenium perspective, we may have some value in for an example. So there might be some code. Okay, there might be some code on which we have to fill in the application. Less, let it be like 20. So we may need to use, okay, if we'll enter this code, then the action will be performed, otherwise it will not be performed. To use this, we'll understand the like read and write concept inside that C sharp. So let me write one syntax: console dot write line, write line. Okay, and there are, like you can see nowadays that artificial intelligence is too much strong. They are giving lots of option, everything that is like inbuilt. So we can say if we'll mouse over. So guys, whenever you will mouse over to any keyword or any like syntax written inside the class, you can understand about that. For an example, if you'll mouse over to console, so what is console? You can see it's a class. It's clearly written class, and from where it's coming? It's coming from the system.console. Means there is a parent class called system. From system, it's coming system.console. Okay. So we also have defined, yeah, we are also using the system class over here as well. If I remove this, okay, so yeah, presently these are like not being used, so I can remove this. So console is a class, or from that particular thing the write line is coming. So there are loads of methods. This write line is a method because like these are two brackets, small brackets with the write line, that means this is a method. Okay, so whenever you issue any kind of like syntax in programming language like this, it will always be method with these small brackets. Okay, so there are n number of methods inside this console class. Okay, you just click control shift, you will control shift, then you can see that everything written inside this with control shift like clear, error, and these kind of, and if required accordingly we can select what method we need to call. So these methods, write, read, these methods are written inside the console class. Okay. So we only have used write line over here. In the further session, we'll understand everything like what is methods, what is class, and all. So just like be with me, whatever I'm telling to you. So console dot write lines. Simply we can, so this write line, there are you can say 17 overloads. If we'll assign this value to B, so you can see now that error or warning like fade away. There is no as such warning because what we are doing now, we are using this particular value B inside to print this value on the console. Okay. So simply what we did, just created a class, defined man method. Okay. In the man method, we created a data type. Now we are going to print that data type. For to print any data type, we just write console dot write line. Okay, there is a shortcut as well to write this. Just write CW and just click on double tap. It will automatically write this line. Okay, CW and double tap. Now if I need to execute this particular program, then there is like a runner, program runner over here. This would be my project name, Selenium morning session. This would be my project name. So just you can save this class by clicking on Control S and then go to this runner and click on this particular thing. So first we'll build and then we'll execute. So building means uh, someone may ask you like what is build. So building means like anyone can ask you at the time of interview. Build means just to understand, because every compiler have its own language. So the C# compiler will convert this code into their language. Okay. So you can see that 10 is printed over here. In further session as well, like we will understand what is this syntax is all about. So did you see that 10 is printed over here? Here was like my right line, and we successfully printed inside there is a new console window, and inside this we can see our output. Okay. And if you assign, for an example, we already have discussed this new value to the B, then if I again executes this program, then let's see what will be the output. It's taking bit time. Okay, so how the program is getting executed? First, the program is going to our class, then it's looking for the man method, and as soon as like we define the man method, let me run it again. Close that existing console window. So first we'll go to the class, then look for the man method, then whatever written inside the man method, this will execute. So let's run it again. So yeah, we have a new console window, and yeah, this time look guys, what printed over here? 20, not 10. So every time when we'll assign a new value to data type, to the data type reference variable, a new value would be assigned to that. An old one will be deleted in the memory as well. That's how it's working. When we already have assigned 10, if we'll assign a new value to this, for an example we did it 20, so the 10 will automatically deleted. This will be deleted from the memory, and like new value 20 would be assigned to that uh, this like B. Okay, 10 would be deleted over here, and the new value would be 20. Okay, that's fine. So just for an example, like going forward, I hope you don't have any questions so far. If you have any, then you can just ping me. Yeah. So now you may need to write. There are some to print any syntax. There are few more lines as well. So we can define a new variable. We can say C, and the value of C would be like 100. Okay, and we can define uh, another variable called D. Sorry, D, and we can say it's 200. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So now if you want to print like B, C, D and all, you can see there is no warning with B, but you can see warning with C and D because C and D are not used. We are using B, that's why there is no SS warning. So to print all these things, just write it like here we will print C, and here we will print D. Is that okay? So if I'll execute this, uh, let me close that window. If I'll execute this, so you may see that, yeah. So can you see that the output is every time the output is in a new line, 20, 100 and 200. Okay. So if every time there is a new line, like 20 is a separate line, 100 is a separate line, 200 is a separate line, there is one more syntax that is called write line. That is called write, not the write line. Okay, console.write. In this way, we also can print the values, but what could be the difference? You may see that console.write. If we'll simply write like this and execute the program, then what will happen? Let's see. Yeah. See guys, like there is no new line. In the similar line, in a single line, the all outputs are, although the outputs are correct, 20, 100 and 200, but like no one can understand them. So this is also useful. Sometimes this is also useful. There may be some scenarios where we need to use the console.write to inside the single page, we need to write down everything that we got. But like this is the difference. Okay, so good to use the console.write line. So these were some functionalities to print the syntax. Okay, so I hope you are getting the concepts. Guys, actually the thing is like I also have like some office work after 9, so I'll request everyone to join like from tomorrow exact at sharp 8, or like we can, yeah, do it accordingly. So that is the thing I would like to discuss with you all. In the tomorrow session, we'll discuss everything like all the pending data types like integer and float and all. So initially, it's taking little bit time to explain these concepts. Further, if you'll be familiar with these type of things, then you can do it easily at your own. So yeah, you have any question like, or you want to like if you think like it's in short session, then like in going forward we can extend this as well. But like initially, I don't want to be you overburdened because you haven't installed that Visual Studio yet. Then if I'll explain all the things in single day, then it will be very tough for you to manage initially. Later on, like I'll definitely increase the content. I'll give you lots of content in a single day. But to begin with the things, that is enough to digest. Am I right, or you have any other opinion, Ganesh or like Ashwini?
Yeah, it's just good. I just wanted to know how you created this folder and this C sharp class over there. Just give me an overview.
Yeah,
You
simply as I,
right click.
yeah, yeah, you just select this, click, select your project. Okay, select your project,
Hmm.
just click on
Hmm.
right click, add. There are lots of, from
And
here you can add folder and new item, or directly you can create class over here. You can say class. or
Oh,
in new item, through new item as well, you can add a class.
okay. Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, today I am also going to share you this recording, and so please guys, like uh, listen this if you face any issue, and like first learn these things, then only it would be good to move forward. Otherwise, like it will be you will not remember these things for a long time if you will not practice at your end. Yeah. So I hope Ganesh, we are good for today. We'll discuss a little more information tomorrow as well. Okay. Yeah. So thank you everyone. See you tomorrow.
Yes.
Uh,
Bye.
yeah. Any by any other question like